Buenos días a todos los asistentes de la sexta Conferencia Internacional de Estudios de Arquitectura y Urbanismo 2023. Mi nombre es Freddy Ruiz, profesional arquitecto, y presento la ponencia de la pérdida del patrimonio arqueológico en la ciudad de Riobamba por la influencia de los planes de ordenación territorial. Por mi poca experiencia en el manejo del idioma hablado, he solicitado a mi hijo me dé leyendo la presentación. Muchas gracias.
Hello everybody, as my father stated, I will be presenting his presentation due to the lack of experience in the English language. We will present a case of the lack of the heritage of archaeological heritage in Riobamba, Ecuador. Riobamba is located in the heart of Ecuador in South America. This site has been considered an archaeological site, and at the same time has been allowed to be urban zone that had contributed to the disappearance of the cultural heritage of this zone. In this presentation, we will present the research that is the analysis of the influence of the land use and land cover plans, urban plans, on the loss of the vestiges of the Puria culture in the last 30 years. In the Urban Development Plan in 1992, R3 type residential was considered as the main use, although archaeological zones were already defined in this zone, as you may see in the picture. An analysis in this study, they took care of, they undertook an analysis on this urban development plan and also in the urban code from 2017 and the updated urban code in 2020, which was assigned a Macaji site as an archaeological heritage, evidencing that this land use is not been applied, resulting in the loss of the pure archaeological heritage. The planning efforts in the Riobamba city date back from 1998, when the urban development plan was formulated at its first documented. At that time, citizen participation, stakeholder participation was not uh, a key point in the urban development plans. However, right now, they are trying to take as much as the stakeholders as is possible. Um, Nevertheless, the urban development is prevailed over the heritage conservation. Remember case shows the fact that political willingness cannot be kept outside of the development plans. These decisions should be taken along with the stakeholder qualified professionals should be in charge of the policy making. Although the plans have been technically prepared, residential use has prevailed over the heritage conservation. Riobamba city went from being the first planned city in Ecuador back in 1800 year to becoming a city in 1996. This was the first year in which they have the first urban development plan. This urban development plan established the urban boundaries of the city along with the corresponding zone, land use, and building height. However, a part of this plan established that based on technical criteria it should be modified. Thus, the city expanded beyond the urban limit under the municipality control. It's a conflict between both uses, archaeological site and residential, showing that the lack of the political willingness to preserve the historical site has prevailed from the National Institute of Cultural and Heritage from Ecuador. 60% of the zone will be allocated for residential area and 40% is allowed to be as a conditional use. Let's say this is commercial, service, administrative, and management uses, not archaeological site. Several topics were established in this work, and none of them have been analyzed or have been analysis of planning instruments and determining whether they are a safeguard or the heritage or not. The study area is an integral part of the urban boundary, with a cantonal soil classification from urban characteristics and predominant subclassification as unconsolidated due to his high number of vacant and undeveloped lots, like empty lots, and the lack of development building height, with support of infrastructure and equipment installed, as shown in the timeline from 2012 to 2020 below. In this slide, you can see satellite images of how the urban development has taken over the archaeological site from 2014 to 2017. This is what they are concerned for, uh, because as you may see in the images, the urban development is taking over the archaeological site. In this slide, you can see also the urban changing, the land use and expansion, the urban land use expansion. But however, these images are from 2018 to 2021. 224 properties are underutilized, vacant, or abandoned for the reasons stated before. From this indicator, the central administration seeks to give them a new use within their conservation limitations. 60%, as we mentioned before, will be allocated for residential use and 40% for commercial, service, and administrative use. Urban expansion affects archaeological assets included in this scope, and this leads to the need of the land legislation and the technical knowledge for protecting cultural assets. As conclusion, they would like to state that the study areas comprise vacant lots, which are deemed suitable for social and priority housing programs. These areas must be identified in the proposal as in the new proposals as public-private real estate protection areas for its archaeological and heritage value. This initiative allows for a better understanding of the complex landscape that had been faced by minor archaeological sites. National development policies have practically omitted the protection of archaeological sites. In the current land use and management plan, despite that initially considering these sites as a legal protection, they have left behind, since the plans do not recognize the archaeological value and face its and has built this obstacle that hinders sectoral development by consider this rather than archaeological a vacant slot. Uh, Finally, the university in this study would like to raise the awareness in this matter so that it is possible to conceive and build better urban plans. Thank you very much. I will leave the space for my dad to make a short conclusion in Spanish.
Bueno, lo que podría poner como conclusión es de que estos planes de ordenamiento en estos últimos 30 años no nos han ayudado, perdón, a cuidar nuestro patrimonio arqueológico. Y esperemos que esto sea el inicio para que el cuidado sea y no perdamos este patrimonio cultural de cientos de años. Gracias por su atención.